She wakes to a cold gray sky in a field of broken metal shiz. Alone among the wrecks of ships and bones of towers is an alien woman with skin like dusk and eyes like blue range. Was left for dead by raiders and storm. She feels the pull of empty hunger and the ache of heavy griefs, and a voice reaches her from a ridge of rusted, is a human voice, soft and steadith. Voice belongs to Clara. Claire is a field nurse and a tinkerer who walks the graveyard of ships to help anyone who's still. Breathless Claire sees the alien woman try to stand and fall. Claire moves fast and catches her hand's gentle breath, warm like summer light. Alien woman blinks and tries to speak, but no word comes. Claire smiles and says, "It is all right. You are safe." For Nosh does not ask, "Who are you and where are you?" From she only says, "I am Claire and I will not leave you." Guides the alien woman to a small shelter between broken wings and a sleeping engine inside. There is a lamp and a kettle and a quilt. Made of flight flags, the alien woman sits and shakes. Claire wraps the quilt around her shoulder. Steam rises from the kettle like a little ghost. Claire pours water over herbs and hands the cup to the alien woman. "Drink this, it helps the heart calm." Downge drinks and warmth moves through. Claire cleans dust from her brow with a strip of soft cloth. Claire asks for a nameth. Alien woman tries again, and a sound forms. Like a slow belch, says her name is Sarah. Sarah says little more, for her throat is raw and her mind is sore. Claire nods and sets a small heater near the quilt. Claire opens a tin of sweet roots and sets them on a plate. Sarah eats with careful hands and breathes in slow beats. Storm outside moves farther away. Night curls up over the yard and the lamp glows, steadying the quiet. Claire checks the sky, and the scanner there is a signal of raiders on the long banthy. Come to hunt for salvage and for those who cannot fight. Claire feels fear rise, but she does not let it grow. Takes a coil of wire and a bundle of scrap and begins to builds little eyes and little ears and little hands. Made of repurposed Dronish, links them to her wrist and to the shelter. Lamp Sarah watches and wonders at the neat skill of human craft. Claire speaks while she works in a calm, low tone. She says she learned to care for engines and for people in a small town by a river on Earth's. Says the river taught patience and the engines taught courage and people taught faith. Sarah listens and feels her chest loosen. She thinks of her own sea at home and the long songs of her mothers and sisters. Thinks of how she was cast away when raiders struck her convoy. Thinks of how dark silence crawled in when hope slipped out. But here is a human who brings hope back like a candle. Claire finishes the drones and sends them into the yard to keep watch. He sits near Sarah and shares the quilt. Edgeth lamp makes a small circle and the night holds back. Claire says, "You are hurt." Sarah says, "The pain is deep but not fat." Claire nods and begins to tend the wounds with clear gel and clever hands. Each
touches light each.
Touches light each touch, says Live. Sarah looks at her hands and sees tiny scars and faded. Touch sees a human story in those marks. Claire whispers a word that Sarah does not know, but feels word means stayers pass, and Dawn looks over the horizon of scrapped drones send. A hushed tone to the lamp raiders move near the far edge of the yard. Claire stands and breathes slow. She taps her wrist and the drones drift to new positions. Tells Sarah to stay low and keep to the lamp circle. Sarah nods and holds the quilt tight. Claire steps out into the pale light. Carries no rifle and no bladesh. Carries a toolkit and a coil of insulated. Lanish walks toward the raiders with steady steps. Ara feels fear again, but also Awesh has seen humans in battle myths and in rough Markichi. It's not seen a human like this who faces danger with open hands. Claire stops near a broken tower and Nielsh opens a panel and pulls a conduit. Frisch connects to her coil and to a cluster of Dronish sends a pulse into the ground like a low, tidy old mines in the dirt wake, and whisper metal plates adjust and tilt. The yard itself becomes a maze, and a warning. Raiders see dust rise and feel the ground shifty slow, and then they stop. The look for traps and targets. Claire steps onto a high piece of hole and lifts her hand. She speaks in a wide band voice through a simple speakers. Says the yard is cursed by old war systems and will crack open if they push forward. She says she knows the safe paths and will trade guidance for peace. Ethi raiders are war ethi, not fools, and they know old yards can biddy. They ask what she wants. Claire says leave the far quarter untouched for 3 days, and take only what is loose in Safeone more rule. She says no harm to the living if you find anything. Mutter and Argasera watches the shape of their talk and senses the pivot of choice Claire. Waits without a tremor at last, the raiders agree, for 3 days they will follow the marks. She giveth thee vanish into the maze like wolves that choose a new trail Claire. Lets her breath out slow, and sits for a moment on the whole thin she returns. To the shelter, Sierra looks at her with wide eyes that sheen Claire smiles as if she had done no more than tie a notch, says hunger makes people harsh, fear makes them dangerous, but a map and a bargain can cool both Sierra, says human hearts are strange. And brave Claire laughs a little and says, all hearts are strange and brave. When given a chance for 2 days, they mend and learn. Claire teaches Sierra to drink in small sips and stretch in slow. Arcsera teaches Claire a lull song from her sea and how to read the shimmer of heat on metal thee, share food. Thee, tell short stories in simple. Word Sarah learns that Claire once loved the silence between stars and signed on a cargo run to learn. The Sky Claire learns that Sarah was a scout for her clan, and a keeper of family names Both learn the shape of each other breathing in, sleep in. The third dawn the raiders keep their word and leave the far quarter untouched Claire marks. The map with a clear trail to the old tower with the good copper bones. Raiders go, and the yard is quiet again, but the quiet holds a new sound. Beacon wakes it is a rescue ping from a distant relay that heard the drone network. Koa ship is coming this way. A small med hauler with a clean crew Claire looks at Sierra and sees conflict in her. Asera is not ready to leave the circle of the lamp Yethi. Lamp is safety, and the quilt is comfort, and the human is something more. Claire feels the same pull, but knows that healing needs more than a shelter in. Graveyard she says the med hauler can help set bones and find kinch, says it is your choice. Sarah thinks she fears the cold of new rooms and the close faces of strangers, fears losing the one warm voice. She is now. Claire sees the fear and takes her hand. Touch is steady and kin. Claire leans close and presses a soft kiss to Sierra. Brow it is a simple kiss with no demand, is a signal like dawn touching the Caesara feels. Something wake in hernet fire and not thunder, but a quiet light that says live. And Rizesh nods. She says she will go if Claire will walk with her to the landing ring. Claire says of course. Ethi pack the small shelter. Claire folds the quilt with care and places it in a bag Zara keeps. The cup that held the first warm drink as a token. Thee leave the lamp on for a last minute and then switch it off. The yard size like a long sleep-ending path to the ring crosses ridges of plates and valleys of wire. Claire guides with easy steps and points out safe ground. Safra follows and gains strength with every Pasetha med hauler drops on a tongue of clear steel. A hatch opens and a woman in clean coveralls wavish. Our name is Megan and her eyes are bright with honest work by hand. Her stands Laura with a pack and Kelly at the Conathi. Our human women who help without fussy, do not stare at Saray, greet her as if meeting a neighbor on a calm strethus. Eases Sierra, and she stands Taller Megan, checks wounds, and makes soft sounds of approval at the care already Donish looks. At Claire with respect, that needs no big words, asks if Claire will join the trip to the relay hub to see Sierra through Intercakler. Says yes. They board the hauler and the yard falls small. Behind them Sierra sits by a port and watches the scrap. Sea Slide awake, sits beside her and points out calm, light paths that ships use when they do not want to be seen. By hungry Ice Megan brings soup that smells like rain on dry soil. Sierra eats, and strength settles deeper. Kelly charts a smooth arc. To the relay Hublora hums a tune that sounds like a line of birds across water. Sierra closes her eyes and lets the tune carry her for a willy tea. The hub there are more people and more sound. Sarah breathes slow and stays close to Claireform's need. Marks scans need time. Megan moves through it all like a river through stone. Sarah is given a room with soft walls and a window that shows a safe. Blue Claire stands at the door and waits until Sierra nods. Ladder. A counselor named Brooke sits with Sierra and asks for the story in small pits. Sarah tells what she can and rests. When she must, Brooke writes notes with a gentle hand and never push D's. Pass in a quiet that heals. Sarah learns to walk long halls without fear. She meets others from far homes who also found help. Haresh learns to smile again, though the smile comes Shy at first, Claire visits every day between repair shifts on hub systems the drink tea and talk about small things that feel largay the
Oh.
air and of songbirds that swim in light. They speak of family and what that word can mean when blood is. Distant tone, evening a message arrives from the sea of Sarah world, comes in a braid of sound and color that only her people, Shusett says her clan. Here's the news that Sheila Vissa says a courier ship is inbound to bring her home with hub. Staff cheer. Claire smiles and her eyes are bright and a little sad. Sarah sees the sadness and it touches her.